Deep in the forests north of Prague, in the Czech Republic, stands a castle. It does not look like other castles. It is not on a high hill for protection. It is not near a big river for trade. This castle, Houska Castle, is hidden. It is surrounded by thick, dark trees. The forest is quiet, too quiet. Birds don't seem to sing much here. Animals stay away. When the wind blows through the trees, it sounds like a whisper, a warning. This place feels different. It feels heavy. There is a strange energy here, an ancient feeling that makes the hair on your arms stand up. The castle just sits there, watching, waiting in the shadows of the woods. The castle itself is strange. It's a solid gray stone building. It has a tall tower that reaches for the sky, but it doesn't look like a home for a king or queen. The windows are small, like the eyes of a fortress. But this fortress was not built to keep people out. It was built for a much darker, more terrifying reason. This is the story of Houska, the castle built to trap demons. Most castles are built for a clear purpose. They are strong forts to protect against enemies. High walls, strong gates, towers for soldiers to watch from. Or they are beautiful palaces for kings and queens to live in. Big rooms, fancy decorations. Houska Castle is different. It is a puzzle made of stone. When you look at its design, nothing makes sense. The main defenses, the high walls and strong points, face inward. They are built as if the threat was not outside the castle, but inside. It's like a prison where the walls are designed to keep something from getting out. Imagine building a house, but you build the strongest locks on the inside of the doors. That is Houska. The layout is Bizka. The layout is The layout is beset. They are just glass set into the stone with no rooms behind them. It was a cover-up. This wasn't a home for nobles or a fort for soldiers. It was a court. It was a heavy stone lid placed over a hole that was believed to lead to another dimension. Long before the castle was built, the local people knew this piece of land was wrong. They avoided it. They told stories about a deep hole in the ground, a crack in the earth that was so deep no one could see the bottom. They called it the pit. People said you could throw a stone into the hole and you would never hear it land. It was believed to be bottomless, but it wasn't just a deep hole. It was active, strange, terrible sounds would come from the darkness below. People reported hearing screams, growls, horrifying cries coming up from the pit, especially at night. It sounded like a place of torment. The legends say that the hole was a gateway, a door to another world, a door to hell. People were terrified of it. They believed that dark things could crawl out of this gateway and into our world. This wasn't just a story. It was a local crisis. The hole was a source of constant dread. The local ruler at the time, believed to be a duke named Ottokar II, decided something had to be done about the pit. The fear was too much for the people. But before he sealed it, he wanted to know what was truly down there. He wanted proof. So he came up with a terrible experiment. He offered a full pardon to any condemned prisoner who would agree to be lowered into the hole on a rope. The prisoner would then report back on what he saw. This was a death sentence, and everyone knew it. But for one man facing execution, it was a chance, however small, to live. A prisoner agreed to the deal. He was brought to the edge of the pit, a strong rope tied around his waist. The guards, the Duke, watched as he was slowly lowered into the blackness. For a few moments, everything was silent. Then, the silence was broken by screams. Horrible, blood-curdling screams. The sound of pure terror. The guards on the surface panicked and began pulling the rope up as fast as they could. They pulled him out of the darkness and back into the light. What they saw shocked them to their core. The man who had been lowered into the pit was a young, strong convict. The man they pulled out looked like he had aged 30 years in just a few seconds. His hair had turned completely white. His face was a mask of horror. His eyes wide with a terror that no one could understand. He was babbling incoherently, unable to describe what he had seen. He was completely broken, driven mad by the experience. According to the legend, he died in an asylum just a few days later, never able to speak a clear word about the horrors he witnessed in the pit. This terrifying event was the final proof. The Duke knew he could not leave the gateway open any longer. He had seen what it could do to a person in mere moments. The experiment had failed to give him answers about what was inside, but it had succeeded in confirming his worst fears. They needed to seal it, to lock it away forever. The fear was so great that it moved leaders to take drastic, unbelievable action. This is the origin story of Houska Castle. It wasn't born from a king's ambition or a general's strategy. It was born from pure, primal fear. Every stone was placed to combat this terrifying legend. It was a scar on the landscape, a place of evil that tainted the entire forest around it. Even with the gateway sealed, Houska Castle was never a peaceful place. The dark energy from the pit seemed to have soaked into the stones, creating a permanent haunting. Over the centuries, stories of supernatural encounters within the castle walls became pretty common. People who stayed in the castle reported seeing things that just could not be explained. One of the most common reports is of dark, fleeting shadows moving through the halls. These are not just tricks of the light. Visitors' staff describe seeing human-shaped figures darting across doorways or standing in corners, only to disappear when they look directly at them. One of the most terrifying legends is about a phantom procession. People have claimed to see a line of ghostly figures walking through the castle courtyard. They are often accompanied by the sound of phantom horses and a spectral black dog with glowing red eyes. The most frightening apparition is that of a dark winged creature. This is not a human ghost. Witnesses describe it as a large, shadowy figure with leathery wings, something between a human and a giant bat, sometimes appearing to crawl along the walls or crawl along the ceilings. The sinister history of Houska Castle did not end in the Middle Ages. Its dark energy seems to attract more darkness. During World War II, the castle was seized by one of the most evil organizations in history, the Nazi SS. This was Heinrich Himmler's personal army, a group deeply involved in the occult and strange mystical beliefs. The official reason for their occupation is unknown. There was no strategic military value to the castle. So why were they here? The local legends and rumors suggest a terrifying reason. The Nazis knew the stories of the gateway to hell, and they wanted to use it for their own dark purposes. Himmler and the SS were obsessed with ancient artifacts and supernatural power. It is believed that they came to Houska not to use it as a base, but as a laboratory. Rumors persist that the Nazis were conducting horrific occult rituals, bizarre experiments within the castle walls. They were trying to harness the dark energy of the pit, perhaps even trying to reopen the gateway to communicate with the entities below and gain their power. Today, Houska Castle is open to the public, Tourists from all over the world come to see the fortress built to trap demons. But many visitors leave with more than just photos. They leave with a feeling of unease, a personal experience they can't explain. One of the most common reports from modern tourists is the feeling of being watched. People often feel a heavy presence in certain rooms, especially in the chapel built over the pit. They also report sudden, unexplained cold spots, even on hot summer days. This is a classic sign of paranormal activity, where a spirit or entity draws energy from the environment, causing the temperature to drop. The sounds of Houska continue to this day. Tourists and staff frequently hear strange noises. Disembodied whispers are heard in empty rooms. People hear footsteps walking on the floor above them, even when they are on the top floor and know there is no one there. Some have recorded electronic voice phenomena, EVPs, catching ghostly voices on their audio devices that they did not hear at the time. Even the people who know the castle best are afraid of it. Many of them will not stay in the castle all alone, especially after dark. It is ongoing. It is active. The castle is still performing its ancient duty, but the forces it holds back are restless. Houska Castle stands as a monument to a fear as old as humanity, the fear of what lies in the darkness. It is more than stone and wood. It is a symbol, a physical representation of a battle light dark our world, another world. For nearly 800 years, it has stood guard over its terrible secret, its chapel, a spiritual lock on a gateway that should never be opened. The castle is a silent sentinel, a prison warden. Its inmates are not human. Its watch is eternal because the evil it contains is timeless. The stories, medieval legends of the pit, modern-day tourist experiences, all point to one chilling conclusion. Something is there. The energy at Houska is real, a powerful dark force resisting centuries of containment, searching for a moment of weakness, a crack in the stone. The question is when.